Hello everyone and welcome back. So due to quite a bit of demand, I'm going to today show you how to tether Corvette parts to get some pretty cool angles in just about any direction that you want on your Corvette. And just forewarning, this is a very advanced method of Corvette building, and there's a lot of nuance to it, and a lot of enduring crashes. So hopefully we won't crash while trying to make this video. First thing you want to do is start a new Corvette. Now if you want to milk it for stats, I suggest getting a super basic one there, going for your S slots, and guarantee your Medusa slots if the stats are what you were going for. And then once you're happy with all that, you come in here and start your standard L shape for the free placing. This just helps keep everything out of the way. Want to go ahead and make sure you got everything set down to have a complete Corvette. Really doesn't matter what you pick. Just keep in mind about the Medusas in the cockpit if you're going for your stats. Alright, so this is really all you need, but really with the tethering, you gotta think in 3D space. So you gotta kind of plan out your build ahead of time. Whether you do it in your head or make a drawing or follow a picture, it's all up to you. But you really gotta think in the 3D space here. So right now we got our basic L just as a standard scaffold for setting anything. So let's say I wanna make a arc right here like I have on my Starborn Cruiser. So what you want to do is build up to where your starting point is going to be. That looks alright. And say you want to get a little funky with some wings. Go ahead and build it to the side here. Just make sure you're at a proper height. And just to keep things simple, we'll start there. Add it to your collection. And now we're not going to touch that. We're going to go over here. Now what you need to do is you need to set up the base computer trick where you can park your Corvette next to a base computer and swap between the two. It's pretty standard for any of the Corvette glitching, but this is not quite the glitching. I choose to do it as settlement just for ease, because when you land at the settlement, your Corvette will always be kind of floating in the same spot. You don't have to worry about it overlapping any base parts or whatever. But the base computer is all you need. And a flat landing spot. So there's my Corvette. And over there, I have a large work platform built. So I'm sure there's already a few of you kind of curious about the platform. So if you do not already know, if you do the resize glitch, the standard 1x3, and use that on the top lit alloy roof panel, you can pre-place a grid of them, like so, and you can land on it. So now I have, right here, a base with a flat platform to work on. All I have here is a save point, because saving is very important. You will encounter crashes. That is a given. So save, save, save. Now the next kind of caveat with this, you gotta be good at pre-placing. Activate our build cam here, find out where we want to start. And before we get started, there are a couple rules with this. Like, this is the center of the Corvette on the platform, right here. So, from the center, wherever you place a hab, it will always treat this as center. And the direction you go from matters, because it will not let you snap to the parts when you get back to the station if it was set wrong but still takes. So if you want something kind of tipped down towards the front, you have to tether from the front. If you want pieces that kind of come out to the side for wings, you have to be out to the side. And then again from the back, if you want it angled downwards towards the back, you have to be behind the Corvette with your points. So you might be a little confused at the moment, but it'll start making sense when I get going here. So make sure you're in your base edit right here. Got our base parts. My preferred piece to use is the base alloy wall, because it gives you the easiest to follow center points as guides. So for the front here, you just kind of line it up center with your front of your Corvette. And place it. Now we have a piece tied to the front that it should be perfectly center along the entire length of your Corvette. And so we want to get to the sides here. Oh, way back there. Maybe I should go from behind. I'll leave this here, just give you guys another sample. Now you can free place the walls anywhere and kind of clip into your Corvette parts except the center. It will not accept the center. It says you're too close to your starship and will not allow it. So if you want to get kind of in line with your center, you gotta be out in any one of the directions. So we'll get this started for that arch I was telling you about. And we want a couple side ones. Lining up at the side is easier than snapping off the front of the bat because, as you can see, the halves are slightly different size than the wall pieces. They're a little bit longer and shorter. So you gotta be careful you're planning with that, because with the tethering, you're setting an angle in 3D space. So where you start from matters. That one, copy that over here. Now if you struggle with some free placing, the easiest trick to do is to find markers in the textures to use as points to line up. So like right now I'm eyeballing the center of the wall with the center of the hab. And just for fun, let's go ahead and check how perfectly I got these. Look at that. Not perfect, but dang. We don't need those. Go ahead and fill this out a little ways. Now that you kind of have your distance set, you need to think about height and angle. So I'll give you guys examples of what exactly I'm talking about there. Back a little bit. Now because of what this one is, I already just described to you, we're gonna build this arch right here. So our starter piece we want to be kind of flat as possible, and you'll see why in a little bit. So we want to kind of match our heights here. Like I said, the walls and halves are slightly different sizes, so you gotta kind of compare. And again, see, it doesn't want to get close to the center there. But now we can see that we're off only about halfway. So we're going to adjust that height a little bit. Two of these. Alright, so once you've got your scaffoldings kind of set, yeah, you want to save. Because it can be a real pain in the butt to reset this if you crash. And hopefully I do not crash, so this way I get a complete video to show you guys and I'm not just talking to myself right now. So, build menu for the base, just kind of go so you can get into the build cam. And highlight any Corvette part and just copy it. I mean, it won't actually do anything, but what that does is it opens up your Corvette build menu for the build cam. Now, these are the hab wall panel pieces, and these are the parts that this trick will kind of default to, most particularly this one, so it really doesn't pay to pick anything other than this one. So once you got that in hand, kind of move over to your base parts. It says can't build base out of range because you're now trying to build Corvette part on your base. So from there, just toggle wire mode. Kind of figure out where you want your angle to go from. Like I said, these are easiest for lining up because you've got a good point right here at the top, one in the middle, and then at the bottom. We're just going to go ahead with the middle. To line it up easiest, I line up the X. Then I switch back. Now place one end of the wire. See, we got the wire set. While you're still hovering over base parts, cancel wire mode. Now you are still holding your Corvette part, but because that end of the wire is placed, it is now tethered to that point. If anybody is familiar with the so-called tether glitch with base building, this is the exact same concept. So then you just take your invisible Corvette part over here, change to pre-place. You have to be careful where you put it. I found that being too close to any of the corners of the hab will instantly crash the game, no matter where you start from. So I usually like right about here. This is like perfect if you're doing both sides. That will perfectly line the center of both your pieces up on both sides of the same hab. But we're kind of separated here, so we'll just go ahead and pick this spot right here. There we go. You can see it is slightly tilted upwards towards where we started from. That's a nice up angle. If you want more angle, build higher. So this way you got a steeper tether. Now from here you're still holding your part there. Another copy, so all you have to do, pick your next tether point and toggle wire mode. Go to the bottom of this one. Trying to remember a good spot so we don't crash here. Yeah, Alright, so this would be probably about a quarterback offset, lined in center. And see, it's got a slight turn to it, and that's because we started over here, and then angled forward to there. Give you a good example for bolt symmetry. We'll go ahead and start at that point again. Bring it up here. And to keep it straight, we'll just go ahead and line it with the center. And see how straight that is. And we got a nice angle. Now just remember the points that you started and finished with, and copy that over on this other side. You can see I set them differently. So this one is off. Let me just try again. There we go. We now have two symmetrical snap points for setting downward angled wings. Now say you want kind of more of a swept motion. A little bit further back. See, now we're back that much more. Now we got a downward angle that's tipped backwards too. You gotta think about how the hab sits relative to everything as well. So like this one right now, even though it's part is tipped back, snapping a hab to that would actually send your points out that way. Let's start this arch. In line with center. It'll be slightly down, but that's okay. Go ahead and line it center. Right there. It's got a slight downward tilt, not much. If you really want to get picky, you can go ahead and mess around with your wall your scaffold pieces to get it as perfect as you want. For the purpose of what I'm doing right here, it really doesn't matter. Now it's just when you want to do this next trick, you gotta make sure you start from the same point every time, or it's gonna mess with things. So now what I'm going to be doing here is a variation of what I've come to kind of call the crisscross curve, because he kind of used it the most to start with. It's a pretty good technique. Me and him aren't exactly on good terms right now. I kind of pissed him off. But so anyways, yeah, you see you got all these textures points on that piece. Got a nice line right here, that's about quarter up. Got this part right here, that's about a third up. And then once you start getting higher than that, the pieces start acting weird, so it just doesn't pay. And the offset ends up looking goofy. But to keep the cleanest curve, I found the best spot is right here. Keeps the next part close to as line as possible at the bottom of that one, because will actually form an ascending curve. But the tethering also adds an extra neat effect that you're about to see. It also curved downward. And you can kind of repeat that, and it is actually possible to set a spiral if you have enough parts and space. But you gotta be careful doing this too, because none of these count as Corvette parts in the tally, so it can be easy to get carried away and make your Corvette too big to actually save. So you gotta be wary of your part count while you're doing this too. So we'll go ahead and make this arch a little more complete. And copy that over here on the other side. Now you gotta be careful, because the exact placement will affect the piece when you place it, and sometimes it will be off a little bit, which if you're trying to symmetrically bring them together, it will look goofy. And at worst times, it'll sit at an angle that the Alice doesn't like, and your game will crash. And trying to make a video of this is pretty brave, because I can't cache video when a game crashes, and sometimes the Atlas will just crash for no reason while you're doing this. And there we go. We have snap points for a cool arch like I have on my Starborn cruiser ship. And also on my newest one, the Gilded Queen. So how about those downward angles? we go. Now the downside to this is that these halves will be 90-degree rotated, so you will not be able to use them to put wing pieces angled down. Alright, so a cool thing you can actually do with this is that you can actually have the sides of your ship converge in the middle real easily. I've done this with my free placing before, but now you can actually set it at a vertical angle. So we're going to change things up slightly here. Now if I crash, attempting this will probably be what does it. And if not, yay! Now, it helps to be familiar with the base tether glitch too while you're doing this, so you can be familiar with how the parts rotate around your tether point without risking so much crashing. Because with the bases, you don't really get the crashes. You can experiment pretty much however you want with the directions you want pieces to go. And any of the base decoration pieces you can use on Corvettes will also work with the tethering, so you can set any of those at any angle you want on your Corvette. And I do believe those parts are more stable than the structural parts for the Corvette. I don't know, I haven't done much of the decoration parts yet. I almost forgot to change back to this part, and I'm pushing the wrong buttons. Like I said before, you want to try to stay away from the corners of the halves, because those will definitely crash your game. I do not know why, just Alice doesn't like it. And now you got a vertical part that's kind of tilted in towards this spot right here. So you don't want it vertical. Here you'll kind of see where you place it matters.
Weather warning. Incoming storm.
See, now it's horizontal, going to that same spot. And I really don't have much more to say about this other than diving into complexity, but we risk crashing and losing the video if we do that, so let's not. And all I can say is experiment, have fun, and remember, save. We don't want to lose hours of progress, especially with work that is this tedious. And just to kind of show you all that it works, we'll head back to the station. And I didn't do it, but remember to clear all your base parts for your next Corvette. Now, it is possible to place the parts upside down, but you still cannot get upside down halves. Before, it required using the slide glitch to be able to do that, and Hello Games has patched that particular glitch out, so it just does not work anymore. Upside down halves are not possible. And like I said about the center of the ship being center, there's another little interesting tidbit about glitching halves into place like this. When you snap a hab to the part, it also behaves like that hab is sitting on a landing gear, so you only have one space underneath it to build. Oh, this one's gonna prove me wrong, look at that. But there are many times where you only get one space below to snap to. And this one is letting me do it. That's weird, it never has before. Anyway, once you've got your hab snapped in place, that is your new building scaffold set to an angle. Showing you all that works. Clear some of this noise so you can see the vertical one. See how it's angled down and in as it comes forward. So there you go. Have fun. And I can tell you this method opens up so many possibilities for Corvette building, but you gotta be careful with it because, like I said, it is very easy to crash the game while you're doing it, and we don't want to waste hours of time. Nobody likes that. So alright, well I hope you can get some use out of that, and thank you for watching. I'll see everyone later.